By 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte had achieved what seemed impossible: the complete unification of Europe under French rule. After decisive victories at Austerlitz, Jena, and Wagram, only Britain remained defiant. The continental system banned all trade with Britain, creating economic strain across Europe. Napoleon's Grande Army, numbering over 600,000 men, stood as the most formidable military force the world had ever seen. The emperor now turned his gaze westward, seeing America's rapid expansion as both a threat and opportunity. The United States, though young, was rapidly expanding westward. The Louisiana Purchase of 1803 had doubled its size, and American merchant ships dominated Atlantic trade routes. Napoleon saw this growth as undermining his continental system. Intelligence reports warned of American settlers pushing into French-claimed territories. "These Yankees will not stop until they control both oceans," Napoleon reportedly told his advisors, setting the stage for transatlantic conflict. Throughout 1813, French shipyards worked tirelessly to construct what would become history's largest invasion fleet. Over 200 warships and 500 transports assembled at Brest and Toulon, capable of carrying 80,000 troops. Veteran regiments from the Russian campaign were retrained for naval warfare. The logistical challenge was immense. Supplies for 6 months were stockpiled, including 1,000 artillery pieces. British spies reported these preparations, but their navy was stretched thin, blockading French ports. In spring 1814, the first wave of French forces struck the Caribbean. Martinique fell within days, followed by Guadeloupe. These islands became crucial supply bases for the American campaign. The French Navy, learning from previous defeats, avoided direct engagements with British squadrons. Instead, they used fast frigates to shuttle troops and supplies. Local plantations were converted to produce food for the invasion force, while former slaves were armed as auxiliary troops, a controversial decision that caused tension among Napoleon's officers. New Orleans, the gateway to the Mississippi, fell to French-Spanish forces in August 1814. General Jean-Andoche Junot led 20,000 veterans through the swamps, outflanking Andrew Jackson's defenses. The French reinstated the Code Noir, gaining support from Creole populations but alienating American settlers. As columns pushed north along the river, they encountered increasingly fierce resistance from Kentucky riflemen and Choctaw allies. Disease and supply problems began taking their toll on the European troops. By September, French forces reached Washington. In a brutal 3-day battle, Marshal Ney's cavalry broke through militia defenses. The Capitol and White House were set ablaze, an ironic reversal of history's actual 1814 events. President Madison fled to Virginia as French engineers began constructing fortifications. However, the victory proved hollow. With their supply lines stretched over 1,000 miles and American irregulars harassing their flanks, the French found themselves overextended in hostile territory. Former President Thomas Jefferson emerged as the architect of American resistance. From Monticello, he advocated a war of posts strategy, avoiding large battles while raiding French supply lines. The federal government authorized privateering against French shipping, while state militias mobilized. Most crucially, Jefferson negotiated secret arms shipments from Britain, despite their official neutrality. "We shall trade space for time," he wrote, "until winter and distance become our allies." As French forces pushed north, they encountered deadly resistance in the mountainous terrain. Frontier riflemen, expert marksmen armed with Kentucky long rifles, ambushed supply columns. Entire companies vanished in the wilderness. The French responded with brutal reprisals against civilian settlements, further alienating the population. By winter 1814, nearly 1/3 of Napoleon's invasion force was tied down in occupation duties or incapacitated by disease and guerrilla attacks. The British cabinet, initially pleased by Franco-American conflict, grew alarmed at Napoleon's potential New World empire. In early 1815, the Royal Navy broke the French blockade and began supplying American forces. Most significantly, Wellington's veteran Peninsular War troops were dispatched to Canada. When news arrived of Napoleon's escape from Elba, Britain formally allied with America. The strategic balance shifted overnight as French forces faced war on two continents. With Napoleon's return to Europe and his forces overextended, peace negotiations began in Belgium. The Treaty of Ghent, signed Christmas Eve 1815, restored pre-war borders, but with significant clauses. America gained fishing rights off Newfoundland, while France retained Caribbean bases. Most importantly, the U.S. agreed not to interfere in European affairs, the origin of what would become the Monroe Doctrine. Napoleon's American adventure proved a costly diversion, weakening his position for the coming 100 Days campaign.